Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss a new topic. So the name of the topic is digestion in humans. We all know this term called digestion. But do we know what actually happens in digestion? How does this process called digestion occurs in human beings? So to get that answer, we have to go through today's class. So let us begin. So first of all, we can see a diagram of our human digestive system. Now in this whole topic or in this whole video, we'll be discussing what are the different parts, how does this digestion occurs, where does it occurs, how these parts of our body or the organs of the body help in the digestion process. So we all know food is taken in through the mouth, digested in the stomach, and then it is utilized in the body. This much we all have a concept. Now moving on, the undigested food are defected from the body. What do you mean by this? This means that when the digestion does not occur properly in the body, or after the digestion process occurs, there are also some waste materials that are being produced in our body. So how to get remove that waste material from our body? By excretion process. We already know what is excretion. Now, the food that passes through the continuous canal, which begins at the buccal cavity and ends at the anus. Now we know we take in the food through our mouth. Now as soon as we take the food, the first part where the food reaches is the buccal cavity. This portion is called the buccal cavity inside the mouth. And then it follows a continuous canal. It can be considered as a canal. And the food moves on until it reaches the anus. Anus is that portion of the digestive system, or you can say the opening through which the waste materials are being removed from the body through the process called excretion. Now the canal can be divided into various components. Here the word canal is used, but as a whole we can say that the whole digestive system we are discussing. It is not just this canal, but as a whole. So there are different compartments or different parts of this digestive system. Let us see what are those parts. First is the buccal cavity inside the mouth, as I told you a while ago. Now next is the food pipe or the oesophagus. This is the food pipe. This looks like a pipe-like structure. So this is the food pipe. Why it is called the food pipe? There are two different pipes inside our throat. What are those? One is the food pipe through which the food passes and reaches the stomach. And there is another one called windpipe that is connected to our lungs. So we will not discuss that windpipe. We will be discussing here the food pipe through which the food passes and reaches the stomach. It is also called oesophagus. Now next is the stomach. After passing through this pipe, it reaches the stomach. Then comes the small intestine. This is the small intestine. Then comes the large intestine, which ends in the rectum. The large intestine end portion is called the rectum, where the waste materials are stored until we excrete it out from our body. And finally, we already know it is the anus, that is the opening through which it is excreted. So these are the 6 parts. Now these parts together are called as the alimentary canal. The canal that we have been discussing this much time was this alimentary canal, or it is also called as the digestive tract. Now next is the food components gradually get digested as the food travels through these various compartments. So the food, as soon as we take in the food, it is not that as soon as we take in the food and the food reaches the stomach, the food gets digested. It is not like that. It is a very long process. and the food has to pass through each and every part of this digestive system. And still at the end, there are some waste materials that are being left behind. So we cannot say the whole of the food gets digested. Also, we cannot say the food gets digested directly in the stomach itself, but it is a very long process and it takes time to digest the food completely. Still, there are some left behind which gets finally excreted out from the body. Now, the inner walls of the stomach and the small intestine and the various glands such as the salivary glands, the liver, the pancreas secrete some digestive juices. Now, why are these digestive juices important? These digestive juices are important because they help in the breaking down of the complex food substances or help us in digesting the food into simpler substances which can be taken by the body, and thereby giving the energy to carry on the life processes in our body. So from where these digestive juices are secreted or given out? From the walls of the stomach. We know the walls of the stomach gives out what? Hydrochloric acid. There is hydrochloric acid in the stomach. Then there are some glands. These glands helps in the secretion of these digestive juices. Also there are some organs. There is the liver, the pancreas. They also give out some juices, digestive juices. The liver gives out the bile juice. The pancreas gives us the pancreatic juices. So these are also very important in the digestion process. Now the digestive juices, what they do, as I told you, it converts the complex substances, food substances, into smaller ones. The food that we take is in the larger form, or it is in the larger chunks, we can say. So we have to break it down. Our body cannot intake that food in our body. We have to break it down into simpler substances. Now the digestive tract and the associated glands together constitute the digestive system. These glands and these organs, everything, this makes up the digestive system. Clear? Now moving on, the buccal, mouth and the buccal cavity. Now we'll discuss about this mouth and the buccal cavity. What are there? So as you can see, this is inside the mouth. What we have, we already know we have the teeth. Also there is tongue. So we'll come to that. Now food is taken into the body through the mouth. We already know this. The process of taking food into the body is called ingestion. Yes, that process of taking the food is called what? Ingestion. We know digestion. Digestion is something else and ingestion is something else. So this process is called ingestion. Now we chew the food with the teeth, obviously. We all know this, and break it down mechanically into small pieces. Why mechanically? Because chewing is a mechanical process. It is not an automatic process, not like the mixer and the grinder that it breaks it down. But we have to chew the food mechanically. Only then it breaks down into small pieces. Now each tooth is rooted in a separate socket in the gums. Our teeth vary in appearance and perform different functions. Yes, there are different types of teeth. As you can see in the figure, there are incisors in the beginning, which helps to break down the food into smaller substances by biting. They help actually in biting the food or grabbing the food, you can say. Then comes the canines. Canines help in tearing the food because we have to tear it into small pieces or simpler pieces, not as a whole. Then comes the premolar, and finally comes the molar. So this premolar and molar, they basically what they do is they help in the grinding and the making the food into a softer substance which can be easily swallowed in through our food pipe. Because if we directly take in the food without chewing it properly or grinding it or making it soft and slippery, the food directly cannot go in through the food pipe. It will get stuck, it will get blocked. So these teeth functions, different types of teeth functions in different kinds of processes, or you can say these teeth help us in better breaking down of the food substances, which will again get further broken down as soon as it reaches the stomach and other organs. But in the initial stage, this teeth helps in the breaking down of the food substances into a simpler material or simpler form. Now again, you can see our mouth has the salivary glands which secrete saliva. Yes, inside our mouth we have some salivary glands which secrete saliva. We all know what is saliva. Now what is this saliva does is that the saliva breaks down the starch into sugars. We know the carbohydrates are the complex substances. They are again broken down into sugars. That is the glucose, you can say. Now the tongue is a fleshy muscular organ attached at the back of the floor of the buccal cavity. It is free at the front and can be moved in all directions. We all know tongue is a fleshy muscle and it is connected to the floor of the buccal cavity. Inside the buccal cavity, it is attached and its front part is free to move in all directions. Now the tongue helps in mixing the saliva with the food. Yes, this tongue has this saliva thing with it, and this helps in chewing, making the food soft, also slippery, and thus help in swallowing the food through the food pipe. The saliva is very important. Also the tongue helps in tasting the food. We all know main function of tongue is to taste the food, because the tongue has many taste buds. So these taste buds help to detect the different taste and are the brain signals which type of food are we taking. Clear? Now the food pipe or the oesophagus. This is the food pipe and this is the stomach. This is the oesophagus, you can say. It's written as alimentary canal also. Now the swallowed food passes into the food pipe or the oesophagus. Yes. After chewing and all this is done, it moves through this pipe. How does it move? The food pipe runs along the neck and the chest. Yes. In between the neck and the chest, this food pipe runs. Now the food is pushed down by the movement of the valves. Yes. Contraction and relaxation of this food pipe, of the walls of the food pipe. This food is slowly moving down. Also with the help of saliva, which has made it already slippery, it is slowly dragging down this pipe and reaching the stomach. Actually, this movement takes place through the alimentary canal and pushes the food downwards and thereby reaching the stomach to get broken down in and thus get digested. So as soon as slowly it reaches the stomach, the food again gets digested with the help of these digestive juices. So I hope this much is clear to you. So you can go through your textbook once again to have a clear idea. So we'll be discussing the other organs in the next class. So that's it for today. Thank you and have a nice day.